Hello, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to The Pursuit. I'm your host, Ben Spangle. Thanks for coming back. Excited to have you. If you're new to the show, wonderful to have you. Please go ahead and click subscribe. We're excited to share as much good as we can with you. Today, I want to take a little bit different gear. I want to talk to you a little bit some tips on helping you manifest things in a greater capacity in your life. I think that if you're listening to this show and you have been for a while, that's probably something that's on your radar is how do I start to activate and work more with the law of attraction? You can't activate it more, but you can work more with it. How do I start to create better results in my life? All of us are asking ourselves those questions in different areas. And everything begins with an idea. So everything begins as a seed. The seed is the idea. That's the spiritual equivalent. And then it turns into something in the physical world. And what we want to learn how to do is how can we speed that up? How do we start to turn these ideas we have, these goals these have, these visions, these plans, these things we'd like in our life? How do we start to attract more of them into our life? And there's lots of things we could talk about. I'm going to talk about some few key component ones, reminders for you of things to get back on track if you've stopped doing them, or perhaps start doing them if you're not. But there's a few things I do want to talk about. Number one, we could never talk enough about this. If you listen to the previous episode before this, I was talking about the 30 days where I read the exact same chapter of Think and Grow Rich. I want to talk to you about the importance of study. If you want to create greater results in your life, you've got to become a studier, not a reader, but a studier. I was a reader for years. To study is very different. To read something, I could read something very quickly. I might breeze through a book, but to study, you could work on the same thing over and over, reading the same chapter, the same page, the same paragraph at times, the same material, whatever it might be, the same books for another time, or the same audio programs, listening to the same stuff. There was a period about a year and a half ago, where every day for about 45 days or so, I would go for a walk and I would listen to Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret recording. And if you've never listened to that, you should go and find a copy of it. It's one of the best recordings of all time on personal growth. But study really does level up your manifestation. You see, we've been taught to believe that our thoughts do not create our reality, and that instead life just happens to us. And as much as you logically may not agree with that as you're listening, you say, no, I know my thoughts do have an influence in my reality. The programming that most of us have is not that. And so on one level, on a conscious level, you may say, yes, I agree with that. But on an unconscious level, the truth is most of us don't. And the reason why I know that's true is that if we really did believe in our ability to create our destiny, to create our lives through our thoughts, feelings, and actions, then every single one of us, we would not miss these things any day. We would never miss our meditation. We would never miss our visualizing our goals or reading our goals. We wouldn't miss studying. We wouldn't miss these things or taking action. But the reason why we don't do these things is because on a deep unconscious level, the truth is we actually don't believe this. So one of the reasons why we have to study every day is to keep reminding ourselves, because this is very countercultural, counter-programming. I mean, we have generations and generations of this telling us otherwise. We have a lot of the world telling you otherwise. I mean, man, it's easy to get in a negative mindset these days. All you got to do is turn on the news, or all you got to do often is just get onto social media at times. And there's always people complaining about something or opinionating on another thing. So study separates us, excuse me. Study separates us from that. And no, if we can edit that. So study separates us from that. I'm going to read you something pretty powerful on visualizing in a little bit here, but this is something I'm studying every day right now, Your Invisible Power. And it's a wonderful little book written almost 100 years ago now too. And there's some great stuff in here, but study really does make the difference. So I'm going to challenge you over the next 30 days as you're listening to this to pick something, one audio, the same audio that gives you good ideas. Maybe it'll be this one, but it's something like this, or the previous one on Think and Grow Rich, that you're going to listen to it every single day for 30 days. Or pick a chapter out of a book that you love that really resonates with you and teaches you the right ideas. And you're going to read from that every single day, that chapter every day for the next 30 days, whatever it might be, but starting to build that habit of study. So study is a massive tip for leveling up your manifestation, because it reminds you all the time how important this stuff is. Every time I read something like this, it reminds me to pause, imagine, to get into the feeling, which are other things we'll talk about. So tip number 2 is visualization. And we've been talking a lot about visualization. Visualization is the great secret to success. Let me read you a few things here. I'm going to read you some great words from Genevieve Behrend from her great book, Your Invisible Power. Everyone visualizes, whether he knows it or not. Visualizing is the great secret of success. The conscious use of this great power attracts to you multiplied resources, intensifies your wisdom, and enables you to make use of advantages which you formerly failed to recognize. So everybody's visualizing, whether we realize it or not. And it's the great secret of success. However, it's the conscious use of it that's important. Because if we're not using it deliberately, then we're using it unintentionally, and we're starting to visualize things we don't want, as we spoke about in the previous episode. She goes on to say in another part of the chapter, in visualizing or making a mental picture, you're not endeavoring to change the laws of nature. You are fulfilling them. So through visualizing, what are you doing? Through visualizing, you're starting to create a picture, an image, a mental movie in your mind, and you're impressing this upon universal substance. You're impressing this upon the unified field or the divine mind or whatever. Again, whatever you want to call it, but you're impressing it upon this universal substance. And as this image is impressed upon it and held there, as you continue to repeat it over and over and feel it, think it, imagine it, feel it, you impress it upon it. Now it must be expressed through you and through this physical world. So visualization is so powerful because it turns an idea from your mind, puts it into the spiritual world. The spiritual world then translates it now into whatever needs to happen to make it become the physical equivalent. And this is how everything has been created. Another part of our book, your object in visualizing is to bring things into regular order, both mentally and physically. When you realize that this method of employing the creative power brings your desires one after another into practical material accomplishment, your confidence in the mysterious but unfailing law of attraction, which has its central power station in the very heart of your word picture, your image, becomes supreme. Nothing can shake it. Now, that'll be fun to get to, won't it? You've learned that asking and seeking have as their correlatives, receiving and finding. You know that all you have to do is start the plastic substance of the universe flowing into the thought molds of your picture desire provides. So whatever you're visualizing, whatever you're thinking about, you're creating the mold for this power to flow through. Now, the thing is that we must visualize with regularity. Just like in the previous episode, Napoleon Hill talked about reading your goals morning and night and to see them in your mind. Visualizing morning and night is a powerful thing to do, to actually create a true mental image. Some people are able to visualize more structured, more orderly, where you can see very clear pictures. Others of you may not be able to see a picture that well, but you can get into the feeling just by kind of starting to imagine. You can feel it more. All of us, whether we can see a more vivid picture, whether we get more of a feeling, the truth is all of us are doing this to trigger a feeling. So if you can think a sentence or an affirmation to create a picture in your mind and evoke a feeling, that's what we're after. If you aren't able to quite see a clear picture, but you can create the feeling, that's what you're after, because that's really what's molding this substance. Because the universe understands everything that you're thinking. Even if you're not super clear on it, you can't maybe see this crystal clear picture. It knows when you set the intentions through your words and your feeling, it knows what you're talking about. Later in the book, she says, the power within you, which enables you to form a thought picture, is the starting point of all there is. The power within you to form that image is the starting point of all there is. In its original state, it's the undifferentiated, formless substance of life. Your thought picture makes the model into which this substance takes shape. Yeah. Visualizing or mentally seeing things and conditions as you wish them to be is the condensing and the specializing power in you, which might be illustrated to a magic lantern. A great analogy for that. So visualizing speeds up manifestation massively. The more you do it, the faster things happen. Mike Dooley, the great author and guy from Notes from the Universe, he talks about, hey, just start with 5 minutes a day. That's a good place to start. I like to do it morning and night, a little bit in the morning, a little bit at night. Sometimes when I'm just, pausing in the middle of my day, I'll imagine whatever my goal is. But that's a big one. We've also been talking a lot about the power of meditation. Hopefully you've started meditating at this point. If you haven't, please do. Please get into it. I mean, there's so many great ones you can do on YouTube. Start with 10 minutes a day would be a good place. Move up to 15, maybe 20, and then beyond from there you can go. But meditation is so powerful. Meditation really starts to calm your nervous system. It starts to get rid of the mind chatter that your mind will have often. It starts to get rid of a lot of these limiting beliefs that you have at times too, or maybe they do come up while you're meditating, but you can certainly dissect them a little bit and start to change the way you're thinking, which will be my next point on this stuff. Meditating, meditating, meditating. Again, there's so many great resources for it. I'm looking forward to when we have some experts on meditation on the show to help you with it. But a few people I would recommend to get started. Bob Proctor's got a great meditation on YouTube called Abundance Meditation. Vishen Lakhiani has a great one, the 6-phase meditation. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think, in my opinion, is the greatest teacher on meditation on the planet right now. And it's just incredible what he's been doing. So I would encourage you to get involved in any of their work. And I know there's many, many more, but I would encourage you to do so, because meditating really it will help you speed up manifestation faster than I think anything else will. Meditation and visualization, those two things combined become an unstoppable. And it's interesting, as much as I talk about, I love it. I still have to fight my mind almost daily to get into meditating. There's times when my mind just won't. This morning was one of them. I was up early and it distracted me so much, and I did not get to my meditation right away. I ended up doing later in the morning, but I had to fight myself I had to fight my mind to get myself to do it. Even though I've been doing it for years now, I still had to work at that. So work at it. It's going to take some time. The first few times you do it, you're going to feel like I can't meditate, or I don't know how to meditate. And that's normal. Everybody goes through that, but keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. It helps align you to greater frequencies and tune into higher levels of thought, higher dimensions, if you will. I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do. So enough on meditation. There's lots more you can learn about that from many other great teachers and leaders as well. I wrote down these notes to talk to you about today is this idea: cancel, stop, and switch. So one of the ways to level up your manifestation is to become more aware of what are you actually thinking about. Meditation will help you with this. Study certainly plants better ideas into your mind. Visualization plants better ideas. But to become more aware of what am I thinking about? And the awareness of thought is a powerful thing to start to actually pay attention. Metacognition, it's called, to pay attention, to think about what are you actually thinking about, and to catch negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts at times. We all have negative images at times. We all have negative feelings at times. So this idea of cancel, stop, or switch is a trigger, a phrase that you can use when a negative thought or image or idea or feeling, whatever it comes in, and you start to notice it. The second you start to notice it, I'll say stuff like cancel or stop or switch, and it'll trigger my mind, cancel, and I'll cancel that thought and I'll switch it to something more empowering. Stop, same idea, or switch, and I'll switch from one idea to another. So rather than think this negative thought, perhaps I start thinking about somebody I love, or this negative thought, something I'm grateful for, this negative thought to maybe my goal, if I can. Now, often at times, if you've really gone into this dwelling state of being angry or frustrated or upset or whatever it might be, these negative emotions, these negative thoughts that have triggered in you, it's not always easy to switch right to your goal, but you could switch to a higher level emotion. Esther and Jerry Hicks and Abraham Hicks and their great work, I have many of their books on my shelf here, but they talk about the emotional scale. So I would reference their book or even Google it, their emotional guidance scale. And you may be very low at desperation. In desperation, you probably can't immediately switch to inspiration, but you could move from desperation to something you're a little angry about. And angry might give you a little sense of relief from desperation, and from anger to, sad or whatever it might be. I don't remember the entire scale, but you slowly start moving up the scale, shifting your emotions. But this idea of using cancel, stop, or switch, or something like that, you're starting to take control of your thinking. You're starting to interrupt the pattern. Instead of these negative thoughts continually spiraling in your life, now you're starting to interrupt that thought and then replace it with something more empowering. So for that moment, as those neurons went to fire, you interrupted them, said no, and then replaced it with something else. And neurons that no longer fire together, no longer wire together, but neurons that fire together, wire together. So as we start to stop and interrupt these other ones, we're starting to kill off these synaptic connections in our brain and replace them with more empowering ones. A couple other quick tips, leveling up your manifestation. I would start to become more conscious of what you're eating. And there's lots of great different ways you can have for your diet. I know some people that are vegetarian and some that are vegan and some that are carnivore and some that are keto and some that are this and some that are paleo, some that are that. And I'm not here to tell you which is best for you. That's for you to establish. But we all know, and we all notice, and if you don't, start to pay more attention to it. But you notice when I eat certain foods, they bring me down. I don't feel as good after. And when I eat other foods, I feel significantly better. And so you have to figure out what those are for you. I'm not talking about temporary. You eat some sugar and you feel good for a moment. You feel like crap after, right? So we generally know things like sugar, things like junk food, fast food, these kind of things typically you don't feel too good after them. Usually more whole foods based are where you're going to start to feel better. Whatever diet you're following, but typically that would be where you're going to start to feel better. You notice if you're drinking alcohol, you probably don't feel very good the next day, or whatever it might be. If it's, cigarettes or smoking marijuana or some of those things, typically you'll notice I do these things and I might temporarily feel better, but then afterwards I don't. Well, what's it doing? All those things are lowering your vibration. They're lowering your frequency. So becoming more conscious of what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, this amazing vessel you've been given. You only get one body. But this amazing vessel you've been given, as we start to become more aware and more conscious of what we're putting into it and notice what makes me feel good and what brings me down, this will help level up my manifestation too. You may not link diet to manifestation, but everything has to do with the way you're feeling, because the way you feel is your awareness of the vibration or frequency you're operating on. And the vibration and frequency you're operating on is causing what you're attracting into your life and how you're acting. So the more we can raise our vibration, the more we can raise our frequency and become more conscious of what are we putting into our body, the more that we can attract greater things. Because it's not just what you visualize, it's not just your goals, although that will work for you, but life is miraculous. I mean, life is truly a miracle. There's so many wonderful things that can happen for you that you can't plan, that God or the universe or source has in store for you that you don't know. This universal substance, this power, has so much good in store for you, and you have no idea. None of us do. But the more we can get ourselves on these great frequencies, the more we allow these wonderful things, these wonderful mysteries and surprises and coincidences and synchronicities and opportunities to show up in our life. So become more conscious of what you're putting into your body, food and drink, and pay attention. What makes me feel good? What makes me feel bad? And eat more of the things that make you feel good and eat less of the things that make you feel bad. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But then secondly, too, is just become more conscious of what are the things that put you into a good state or a good vibration. So do you like going out for walks? Go out for more walks. You like listening to nice, wonderful, beautiful music? That's a great thing you can do to level up your manifestation. All things you can do to put yourself in a greater frequency, to read a great book, to take some time just to be quiet, to go and sit and have a beautiful conversation with your spouse, to spend time with your children, not on our cell phones, to watch a funny movie. Just to journal. I mean, to stare at some beautiful art or look at beautiful art or whatever it might be. Maybe you like to color. Maybe you like to draw. You like to play an instrument. These are all great things to do that do level up your frequency. And if you're leveling up your frequency, if you're raising your vibration, you're raising your frequency, you're speeding up the manifestation of more good to flow into your life. So there's some tips for you. I guess that'd be 6 tips we went through. Study. Figure out some stuff you want to study. Next 30 days, pick one thing. I'm going to do this. I might do other stuff too, but I'm going to do this every single day for 30 days, every single day. My friend Jason's been listening to some Abraham Hicks, same audio every day for probably close to 2 months now. And it's been interesting what he's been learning from it. Keep it up, Jason. Good job. Visualization. We talked about that morning and night. And if you can do it more, even better. Get started on meditation. Stop avoiding it. Stop putting it off. Stop saying I'll do it later. Start on it today. If you think you don't have time, you're lying to yourself. You do have time. Just start with 10 minutes a day. Find a guided one you can listen to or some soft music and just do it. Commit to it. Work on cancel, stop, or switch. Negative thought comes in, I'm going to replace it with cancel, stop, switch. I'll interrupt it, part of me, and then replace it with something more empowering. Become more conscious of what am I putting into my body? Is this nourishing me? Is it helping me feel better, not just in the short term, but in the long term as well? And then become more conscious about engaging in activities, things that you do that make you feel good. Because the more you feel good, the more good you're attracting. I think that probably just makes sense. And maybe intuitively you know that, but logically you're telling yourself, no, I got to grind. I got to struggle. I got to do all these kind of things. I got so much work to do. I don't have time to play an instrument. I don't have time to do these kind of things. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You can make time for it. And the more you make time to do things that cause you to feel good, the more good you allow into your life. And all of us, you, me, we all want more good in our life. So I hope you found today valuable. I hope there was maybe even just one idea that you're going to start implementing to help you create more good in your life, because there's so much in store for you. I really believe that you were born for great things in your life. I believe that there's something magical coming for you. I believe the best is yet to come, and you're just getting started. So no matter where you've been up to this point, no matter how far you've come or how short it seems, it doesn't really matter. greater things are in store for you. Work with these ideas, right? This infinite substance that we've been talking about, it wants nothing but good for you, but you have to direct it. You have to choose what you're going to do to align your thoughts, to align your feelings, to align your behaviors in the direction of things that you want, and then allow it to work through you and create even greater good. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I love you so much. I'm so grateful. I know we haven't met all you guys, but I look forward to just more opportunity to share, to bring great thought leaders from different areas. We got some big people coming up in the health space, which I'm excited about to share with you. We've got some other great minds and personal growth coming, and we're coming into a good season here. So keep it up. Stay with it. You're doing a great job. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.